Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkie and Drury. And boy, oh boy, were we way off the mark. Clarkie and I were both on the Edmonton Oilers to finally get it done. They could not. The Florida Panthers are an unstoppable machine right now, back to back Cup champs down in Miami. And we are very pleased to be joined by a great friend of the show, a special guest here to talk about that. And of course, the draft, which is just 9 days away from when we chat right now. Sam Cosentino, there are very few people that know more about prospects than this guy, and we're pleased to welcome back to the show. Cos, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Well, this is what an honor. Great to be back. Like it's the annual, right? So this is fantastic, and I think we'll be talking about a few Guelph boys here at some point. But yeah, you know what? What a crazy kind of scenario. And I'm like you guys, like my pick of Edmonton goes back to the start of the year. I doubled down on it like in April when we had to make picks again, and I thought, oh geez, this is a little bit scary. But I had a lot of faith in McDavid, and I was following the story like, when Florida lost to Vegas in 23, you figured, okay, now it's Edmonton's turn. They lose their first one and they go back again and win it. Well, that Florida team was a little underestimated by everybody. I think everyone along the way, and a lot of people in the fan base as well.
So how did they pull this off back to back? I mean, 3 straight trips to the Cup final is gargantuan an accomplishment in and of itself, Sam, but to go back to back and hold off McJesus and Draisaitl, and boy, they really missed having Zach Hyman back there. But man, how did they pull this off? Because a lot of people are talking up here in Canada, especially about what the Oilers did wrong, what they couldn't do. What did the Florida Panthers do to ensure that they secured back-to-back championships?
I think they had 3 or 4 different elements. So the first to me is the goaltending, solid. You know what? The first couple of games, yeah, giving up 5 and 4 and whatnot, but just solid, and no confidence ever wavered in him. The next thing is they played bully hockey, and they never stopped playing bully hockey. And the next thing after that is they have, I think unbelievable chemistry in that room where everyone, it's not every man for himself. It's we are all in this together. And I think the last thing is, the additions that Bill Zito made were good not only because they were really good players, but I think because they were higher end players, it helped revitalize the group that was trying to return and do it again. And so I heard something really interesting on the radio today about like Paul Maurice reaching out to Jim Rutherford, who they worked with in Carolina for so many years, and the basic premise was, hey, your team's going to suck till about Christmas, so deal with it and get used to it. Don't be too hard on them. But in the back-to-back scenario where you get worn out the year before, they'll start to sniff it right around Christmas time. And after Christmas, you should be ready to rock. And that's kind of what happened. Like, I remember Paul Maurice saying, too, that he didn't care about winning the division title. And I thought, well, that was kind of interesting. You're probably going to get a better draw. They were just worried about making sure that they got in a good place. And I think he felt that the chemistry in the room and the talent would take over. And that's kind of what happened.
Have you ever seen a team, Sammy, that goes through and wins so, it seemed, in my mind anyway, so calmly, so confidently? Like, this team never really sweat, did they?
Well, and they had a lot of like pressure points in which they could sweat, right? You think about the Maple Leaf series.
Yeah.
They're
Game
down
7.
Yeah.
6-1.
Well, I think it was more game 3 in my opinion.
Yes, for sure.
They're up 3-1 in that game. Down 3-1 in that game. Down 2-0 in the series.
Yeah.
And no, it's no problem. We're just going to keep working their way back.
Yeah.
And they decimated Toronto. Those last 2 games games 5 and 7 rather were just crazy. So I've never seen that, but I think that comes from the belief in the room, Clarkie. Like,
yeah.
Marchand comes in there, he revitalizes everybody. He's won it before, so he's not fazed by what a big game has to offer. And all those other guys, I think there was 9 or 10 of them that returned, and it's like they were unfazed because they just did it a year ago. Yeah. And then some of their like bottom 6 guys or third pairing, fourth pairing guys were like, oh, okay, this is how it goes. Well, this is what we're going to have to do. So it's really neat to see. I mean, I'm a big Paul Maurice fan to start with.
Same.
And I think it starts with him, that calmness. But the one guy that probably doesn't get talked about enough is Alexander Barkov. And from what I hear about how he leads that room, he's the king of calm.
Is it also comes down to DNA?
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
Like, and
sure.
and how to not to transfer over to the Leafs yet, but the DNA in that room is just like they're just winners. Like, and it
They're
just goes
winners.
to my confidence thing, right? They're winners.
Well, I mean, and some guys were kind of beat up along the way. Think about Sam Reinhart. His time with Eichel in Buffalo, it came to a bad ending. Think about Sam Bennett in Calgary.
Yeah.
It didn't come to a great ending. And you're talking
No.
about third and fourth overall picks. Think about Seth Jones and how the first half of the season was in Chicago, and at points there where he's starting to get on his team a little bit. So I think they've had a lot of guys that were in like loser scenarios, right? Nate Schmidt. He played for Paul in Winnipeg, so he knew exactly what he was going to get. He was there with Vegas, I think, in their, with the original Misfits in the first year going to the final, and then never really sniffed it since. So and basically just got let go and put off to the side by Winnipeg. So I think a lot of those guys with the adversity they experienced a little bit earlier in their careers probably helped push them forward. And, Kachuk and Barkov and those guys really kind of holding down the fort. But some unsung guys too, like, Forsling might be the most fit guy in the National Hockey League. Mikkola was a guy that maybe people didn't think could play with his time in St. Louis. He's become a really good player and played in a proper role. So they've done a lot of really good work there with their personnel. And Clarkey, getting back to your point of DNA, like I think when you walk into that room as a newcomer, you don't have a choice. You better play along, and if you're not, you're going to be out. And that's, I think, where DNA starts.
So Ekblad, Bennett, Marchand. How many do they re-sign?
Oh,
And who?
I haven't looked really closely at the cap situation. So there's different dynamics there for all of it. So Marchand, he's on the back nine, right? And I think if he can cash out once more, he'll probably do it. So let's just say if Florida offered him 3 years at $15 million, it would have to be a 3-year, $20 million deal somewhere else. And that's probably doable for somebody. Might even be doable for Toronto. Bennett, if Florida offered him 5 years at $45 million, that means someone's going to have to come in at probably 5 years, $52 million to get his services when we talk about the tax situation. And I, like the way those two were getting along at the end, maybe they come together and they go together and say, hey, you take a pretty good chunk, I'll take a pretty good chunk. We'll remain together. We'll take another run at this thing here over the next couple of years. That might be what happens. I think the odd guy out, though, is going to be Ekblad. And I think with the Seth Jones acquisition, not only helped them, get to the final and get him reinterested in the game, but I think it bought him some insurance in the case that Ekblad's price becomes too high. So I would also say that if Ekblad's price is too high, obviously a spot they're going to have to fill, but it probably opens up a little more space to get the other two guys done. You have to kind of figure out what's more important there, I think.
Yeah, I think that they certainly keep one of the three. My money would be on Bennett, and I agree on Ekblad. I think that he might be an odd man out here. Only in that Bill Zito, I mean, again, talking about how brilliant his moves are, he made a move for the now, which resulted in another cup, and for the future. Seth Jones is by no means, on the back nine, and he's got plenty left in the tank, right-handed shot, and he fit in really well there, obviously. So I think Ekblad might be the guy who goes. Before we move on and talk a little bit about the Leafs and this upcoming offseason, which is going to be one of the most interesting offseasons in Maple Leafs history, I just want to touch on one last thing, talking about the DNA of this team. And it's worth noting that the DNA of winning, it's earned. You don't just have it out of nowhere. You work to acquire that. And Florida has done an unbelievable job of earning that DNA and cultivating it. And a big part of it is the guy standing back there in the blue paint in Sergei Bobrovsky. I've been a big fan of him since he came into the league. I think the resume he's put together, and he's getting up there, he's in his upper 30s now, Sam. This guy, with what he's done now, I think he might be creeping into top 10 goaltending of all time territory here. What's your thoughts on that? I think the two Vezinas, and bear in mind, they were Vezinas won with Columbus.
Yeah.
Now, Columbus had good players back then, but to win two Vezinas with Columbus, allowing the shots they did, and now to do this and win back-to-back ships with the Panthers, I think that if this guy hung them up tomorrow, they walk him into the front door of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, for me, like winning the cup is a big thing. Longevity is a big thing. Proficiency is obviously something that, if we're talking about them, then they are pretty proficient at their job, at their particular position. So, it was funny because when Dale Talon signed him to that long-term deal, people were like, "What are you doing?" And if you look at that deal now, it's like, oh my gosh, what a team-friendly deal, right? So it's weird how the ebbs and flows go, but the conversation always starts with where we are in that salary cap continuum. Is he taking up X percent of the cap? Oh my gosh, what's going to be left for everybody else? Well, I think it's been proven, and you don't have to look 200 feet down the other end of the ice in the final to realize just how important a position it is and how much it's actually worth,
Yeah, pretty incredible stuff that he put together. Let's get to Clarkie's Maple Leafs. I know he's
I want to talk about the second best team in the National Hockey League, the team that made it 7 games to the Stanley Cup champs, the only team to take them to 7 games, so they have to be the second best team. Start with me. Who do you think Treliving was specifically talking about? Was it Marner? Was it the bottom 6 guys when he talked about DNA, or is it widespread?
I think it's probably widespread. Yeah, listen, that core group has been together long enough, right? So if I look at John Tavares, there's no issue. I thought he had an outstanding year.
Would you re-sign him?
He has lived up to his billing. I think if they can do it at 3 years and 15, 3 years max 18, I think they do it. I think John would stay for that kind of money and probably ride it out here in his career. He might ask for an extra year to get it to 4, to just bump the total value of the contract up, and that might alleviate a little pressure off the average annual value. But
yeah.
Here's the thing about John: like, is he slower than he used to be? Sure. Is the game faster? Sure. Within 20 feet of the net, there's not 10 guys better in the league than he is. Tipping pucks, rebounds, deflections, finding open ice and quiet ice, and finding teammates in that area. There's not 10 guys better in the league.
I see Ryan twitching because every time we have someone on, they say the same thing you're saying. And Ryan disagrees every time. Go ahead, Ryan.
I don't know why I got to dig these guys, and I feel bad, like I'm like anti-John Tavares.
Maybe it's because you're wrong.
Like I don't think I'm wrong. I agree with everything Sam is saying. I just don't know that he's part of the mix that needs to remain with this team. I think he can do all those things on other rosters and potentially be a better fit. I just don't look at what he's done over the lifetime of his deal in Toronto and go, boy, I'm sure glad that they had him around for all these years when, look, their cap problems were well documented. I think he was at the heart of that. I never would have offered him $11 million over 7. I told you that when he signed it, Clarkie. I'm not just saying it hindsight 2020 here. I don't think he was ever worth $11 million. Do I think he was far below that? No. I just don't know why he has to be a guy that this team that has failed over and over again is a guy that needs to come back. Like, there are fans talking about him like, oh, the Leafs, no, they don't. They've not won anything. I'm not saying he's the main problem. He can't be. He's one guy. Just like the next guy that you want to talk about, Clarkie, your favorite player of all time. I just look at him at the age he's at now and wonder if there's not better options for the same, if not a little more money, that are younger that the Leafs could utilize far into the future beyond the next couple of years. That's just my opinion. I like John Tavares. I think he's a great player. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's ever been a great player. I think he's been a very, very good NHL player, but not great.
I'd have him as a third line center, and I think championship teams would be happy to have him as a third line center. Like
I
he's
don't disagree.
not the premier guy anymore. I get that.
Yep.
But there's not many better guys in the power play, and there's not many better guys within 20 feet. Now, some of the tracking and, the stuff where speed is required, that's fine. He's smart enough to know where to go, how to get there, maybe arriving a little later than he would like to, but I'm okay with that. And again, it has to be cost effective. Like,
For sure,
that's the thing
for
for
sure.
Toronto. And I believe, like, if I'm looking at that DNA comment, he is definitely not a part of that. There's not a guy who works harder, who's more dedicated to the craft than John. Okay. And, you take the C away from the guy. He stands there, he answers all the questions. And I have to say, like, from going back to his junior days, how much he'd grown into that role in Toronto, which is, Clarky, as you know, a difficult spot to be a captain in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like, I give John just a boatload of credit for how he handled himself, A, when he was the captain, and B, when he had to give it up. So I'm not saying anyone owes him anything, but I think at that suggested price at about $5 million a year, I'm happy to take him, because I think for each of those years, he probably averages 60 points. And I'd love to know what the dollar value is on points these days based on, what other players are doing contractually.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to Mr. Fancy Pants. Do you see any way that Mitch Marner returns to this team?
Yeah, I do.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow. And what's that number?
That number is probably going to be 13 million. So I know.
Just before you go, my thing is, he's going to be forever the hated guy at 13 million. Forever. The only way I see this guy coming back is if he takes a haircut and he goes down to 9 and he lives. I mean, I know it's hard to live on $9 million a year, but I think he has to do that to buy the fans back.
That won't happen.
I know it won't happen.
Yeah,
I know it won't.
But
I know it won't.
What about
That's
this?
why he's not coming
so
back.
here's the scenario that I look at.
Okay.
Like, those 4 guys together doesn't work. So if you take one away, does it work?
You're taking Willie away?
No.
Who are you taking away?
Matthews.
Wow.
Here's and
Let
him finish here. Yeah.
So like, what's his $13 million kicks in this year, right? So you replace Matthews with Marner, and now you go out and you have the same money that you would have had anyways to go and fill those spots. So is it a couple of D? Is it a third goalie? Is it, can you address a number of issues with that money? Still doing your due diligence and breaking up the core 4 and changing the DNA, right? And I'm not saying Matthews is the problem. Don't get me wrong. You're not hearing me right if I say that. But
well, that's how I'm reading
together. If it's Marner that goes, okay, that's one way you change it, and that's probably the most likely scenario.
Just because it's
all 4 guys back, and I do think that Toronto's going to end up re-signing Tavares.
Yeah,
Nylander's not going anywhere. And so it's either Matthews or Marner. And Marner's the closest to it happening because he's now a free agent.
Yeah.
But is there a world where they move off of Matthews, right? Because there's cost certainty now with the cap rising each of the next couple of years. And that $13 million 2 years ago looked like a massive, massive number. It's not as big now. To a team where you can acquire live bodies, picks, prospects, whatever it is, to fill out the rest of your roster and then leave Marner as your guy. Like, those are in my opinion, the only 2 scenarios. The most likely is Marner leaves off into free agency.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't discount the other scenario entirely.
Well,
that would be huge, though.
It would be huge, and I don't know that you can discount it. There are people that probably huff and haw at that, but I mean, honestly, the way that this team has performed in the playoffs, and again, you can't just pin it on one guy. It is a core of people, and of course, it's the rest of the team and the depth issues that they've had during these different runs. But when you do look at Matthews and what he's done in the playoffs, like, look, I don't want to be this guy. Guys, like, I don't want to be.
You
Mr.
always say that, but then you always are.
I hate being this guy. But what I have to, like, I look at the numbers of the guy relative to what he's paid and back-to-back 60s, and I look at his playoff numbers. I'm extremely disappointed. He's not a point-per-game player in the playoffs. That's obscene to me. And it's
he's an
borderline
amazing
obscene.
talent. He's a
is
top 10 talent. But the the DNA thing I think is a real thing, and it's not one or the other. It's not both. It's to me it's one or the other. So you pick your poison there. Are they both bad players? No. Are they bad personalities? No. But I just think together, by removing one of them, you change more than the dynamic of just that one player. I think you start to change the dynamic of the room entirely. So that's why I say that with the Matthews scenario. But listen, it would take some big cojones to move Matthews based on his goal scoring ability. It's elite, and by the time his career's over, I mean, he could be the guy who's sitting there, bands that make you dance. He could be that guy, by the end of it all. So that would be tough.
It would be tough. My only concern with him is I look at him and go, yeah, he is a top 10, maybe even a top 5 talent just based on that release. I don't know if he's a top 10 dog. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I haven't seen that from him yet in the playoffs. And I'm scared with all these injuries, the multiple shoulder problems, this wrist, people talking about that zip not on his release. I'm afraid of that deep into his career, which is exactly why I don't think he will be bands making her dance. I don't think he's catching Ovi if he's got problems with his wrist now.
No, and you might be right. And again, that's always going to be under a shroud of secrecy because it's the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, your captain leaves to Germany for 2 weeks and no one says anything. Like,
that's ridiculous.
Come on.
It's scary.
I agree.
Scary stuff, man. Like, because they paid this guy a lot of money. He's so much fun to watch when he's on. It's scary watching that guy rip the
He's
puck.
a Selke guy, and he could be an Art Ross guy, or at least a Richard Selke guy, right? Like, he is that good.
100%. 100% he's that good.
I'm just my point is that the DNA changes with one of those two guys leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my opinion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is one of those two guys because they picked Willie. Like, 8 years, no move.
Except Dark Guy was on this show saying Willie's the guy they should move.
There's a lot of opinions because of the way the teams perform the playoffs. Everybody thinks that they know the right guy.
Just all four guys aren't coming back. That's all I know.
I don't think so either.
I know we talked about Marchand and Bennett. Let's just say one of them is available. Do you see one of these guys wanting to come to Toronto?
Ooh, wanting. That's a great question. I think honestly, the dollars will determine that.
So what if you threw $11 million for a 1-year deal with Marchand?
Wow.
Then you got 15 next year to sign Connor.
That's crazy.
Oh, God. Here we go. We can't do
Connor's
this.
Connor's coming, Ryan. He's coming.
We're not doing this with cause. We're not walking down the yellow brick road with
That's fine.
Sam.
He's coming.
We're not doing
He's
that.
Loser 2 times in a row. He doesn't want any more of that crap.
Oh, my God. All right,
Wow.
Sam. Let's...
Huge.
Hold on. Let Sam finish. Let Sam answer my Marchand question.
Sure.
If you give him 1 year at $11 million, I think he does
the money. You don't think so? He wants term.
I think he wants a little bit of insurance there.
He deserves it. He's earned that type of want.
But if you go 3 or 4 years, it's not going to age well at all.
And I actually, Clarky, I kind of feel the same way, but it depends what the AAV is, right? So, and again, that's where Florida probably has a massive advantage there.
For sure they do.
Like, I can't tell you what he's worth on the open market. Is it $8 million?
I don't know.
8?
We'll find out, I guess.
25? Like, I don't know what it is. But again, maybe him and Bennett get together and they say, what the Tampa guys did a few years back and said, hey, you know what? You get yours, leave enough for me. We'll get ours together and we'll take a couple more runs at this thing. Like, I could see that happening, right? So Bennett hasn't really had his massive payday yet. So he's going to want to make sure that he gets as close to double digits as possible. Marchand has. Obviously the Olympics are going to be front of mind for him, but getting 3 years and getting another, 18, 20, 25 million bucks, I think that would suit him well too. And I think that's probably a reasonable number.
Are you on Sportsnet July 1st?
Yes, I am.
Yes, when he signs 1 year in Toronto, you remember me though. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, he should make a little sign. I'm sorry, Clarky. You were right. Yeah, well, we'll be looking for
I'll
it
be
during the
texting him
broadcast.
immediately.
For
Now,
sure.
now, speaking of your work on Sportsnet, like I said at the start here, there's very few people in the hockey world that are as tuned in with prospect news as Sam. The draft's coming up here. Isles have the #1 pick. And
There's a
it's an
draft.
interesting
I'm not even paying any attention.
There's a draft, brother, and there's some interesting names, including some big OHL names. And there's two guys way up there alongside the Hagens kid from Boston, in Michael Misa and, of course, Matt Schaefer, who unfortunately had his season derailed by that injury at the World Juniors. What a player. And Misa, just a freak, one of 6 18-year-old draft-eligible players to have 130-plus points in his draft year. Insane stuff. What do you think the Isles do at #1 there? I personally believe, and I love Matt Schaefer, I think they should draft Michael Misa.
Wow. You're the hot take guy today, Ryan.
I guess. Yeah.
Hey? You get the hot takes going.
You can tell him he's full of crap.
I mean, to be perfectly blunt with you, like, I would probably trade back to Utah at 4 if Utah was interested. I would get Hagens at 4 and try and rob whatever team is or Utah to get to #1. Like, for Utah, they don't really need the pick, right? It's found money for them. They jumped up 10 spots by winning the second lottery. They got an owner who wants to fast track this thing. And so I don't know if any one of these players is going to have that kind of impact right away at the NHL level, but it's probably 2 years for Schaefer and maybe 2 for Misa as well before they start having an impact. And so I would strongly consider that, because you get Hagens, the hometown guy. You get a really good player who I think is people just seem to be down on him a little bit. And I think James feels that a little bit based on our conversation with him at the Combine. But this guy's a hell of a player. The problem is he gets compared to Macklin Celebrini. So he goes to college, wins the Hobey Baker youngest guy, 63, 64 points, whatever it was. This guy goes to college. He's not in the Hobey conversation. His team doesn't win, and he puts up a point per game, which as a freshman is pretty darn good. And driving a line with 2 NHL guys in Gabe Perreault and Ryan Leonard at BC and at the World Juniors, where he had, his 9 points in 7 games and a gold medal. So that's probably what I do. But assuming they're going to keep the pick because you got a new GM, and that would be quite the splashy move for a new GM, Matthew Schaefer is the guy. He's the game. I believe he's the only true game-changing talent in the draft class. And that's not to say that Misa isn't going to go on and do wonderful things, but I think you feel that impact more with a 24-minute per night first pairing defenseman who can play in every single situation. And for Misa, he's probably a 20-minute per night guy who's probably a point per game guy, which is unbelievable, who's going to give you versatility playing center, playing left wing. I just think Schaefer has more kind of game-changing ability and the ability to impact the game more often than Misa.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they made the wrong pick if they take Schaefer, because I think Schaefer is just a ridiculously fun player to watch. I think that he has an underrated intensity to the way he plays his game. I think a lot of people write off how intense he actually is, because the way he plays the game, especially against his peers, whom he is far and above better than 99% of them, it looks effortless to him on some nights. So I think people kind of write off how intense he actually is. We spoke to him in Guelph earlier in the year, and like he's like a really dialed in kid. I don't know. I'm a Misa fanboy, I guess. I don't know. I've just really liked watching him, but it's going to be interesting to see how this draft shakes out. And there are going to be some big trades of picks. There always are. Who's a team that you're looking at where you're sitting there and saying they should make a big splash at the trade and try and either move up or down? Utah.
It's Utah for sure. It's Utah at #4. I think they've had, my goodness, they had 12 or 13 picks last year, 11 before that, and I think 10 or 11 the year before that. So, I mean, you only have so many contracts, and you can only stock your cupboards so much before you don't have places for players to play. I went back. I was doing a bit of a study on their draft history here. My God, they of all of those picks. So I want to say there's 35 of them over the last 3 years. 34 of them are 6 foot or bigger. Only one guy, Logan Cooley, checks in under 6 feet. There are 14 of them that are 6'4" or bigger. And that, obviously you're not going to assume that every one of those players makes the NHL. But Bill Armstrong clearly has a mandate out there to draft big and to play big. And I just think that the opportunity for them to give up one or two prospects to, for the ability to switch places, if you will, I think gives them the one kind of element that they don't really have, and that's a franchise defenseman.
100%. Before we let you go, Cos, you got a bunch of stuff. You got a baseball game you got to get to. We appreciate you joining us here and giving us all your great insight here on the draft. Is there a prospect that not enough people are talking about that you firmly believe is a first rounder that's going to surprise some people?
I think Will Horkoff is probably that guy, Sean's kid. Just started the year at the program, ended up at Michigan, then goes back to the program for the under 18s and is able to really kind of show off his stuff. Two things. I think, he probably starts to enter the conversation past pick number 20. Most people have him in the latter stages and even into the early second round. I think where we would be in that spot in the draft, two things would play. Obviously, the NHL bloodlines and the size. And I think you'd just work hard on the rest of his game, knowing that he's a guy who's going to be committed to the program that's laid out for him, and he's in a good spot in Michigan. So you don't have to rush to sign him. He'll be drafted out of there. You'll have, a couple of years to continue to let him to develop. So he's the guy that I think not enough people are talking about, at least high enough. I have him in that probably 20 to 25 range. And I think that's going to be pretty close to where it ends up.
I'd love to add him to my prospect pool, that's for sure. And I mean, especially if he ends up with the work ethic his dad brought to the rink every night.
Yeah.
Really quickly, give my Guelph Storm guys some love here. Quinn Beauchene's in the mix. Lev Katzen.
Yeah.
Charlie Paquette's still undrafted. He scored 30 this year. I saw you at some of the games. Give my Guelph guys some love here. What's up?
Yeah, for sure. So I think all those guys are going to be day two guys. Beauchene was a bit of a hot topic early in the year. Then the injuries. I think I saw his first game back was in Ottawa, if I'm not mistaken, in the second half there. So that set him back a little bit. But he's a really good skater and he can move some pucks. And I think there's a lot of upside to his game. Katzen's a really interesting guy. Obviously, Corey Stillman, knowing him as well as he did, leaned on him pretty heavily at the under 18s, and he performed well there. So that no doubt helped raise his draft stock. Paquette, kind of a guy that I think people would look at in the much later stages of the draft. Because he's got some pedigree and 1 year behind him. And then Sportsoff is probably a guy that he's getting looked at as well. So I think he's more of a developmental piece, more of a raw piece, and again, a guy way towards the back end of the draft. But still, lots of good things going on there when you see a number of Guelph Storm players on the central scouting list.
Love to hear it. Storm Nation will be happy to hear about that. So we really appreciate this, though, man. Sam Cosentino, one of the best. Watch his coverage on Sportsnet, of course. All the draft stuff, and, of course, free agency, where Clarkie's hoping he maybe apologizes to him for the Marchand deal.
We'll see what happens.
Any closing thoughts? Yeah?
No. Just one word answer is all that's required here. If Mitch doesn't come back, where is he going?
Vegas.
L.A.
Wow.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay.
I like that. LA. How about that?
He's going to go somewhere where he's going to just drift into.
What do you got, Clarkie?
Oh, I think it's going to be like Anaheim or San Jose or Utah or somewhere that he's not recognized and just can live his life. That's what I think.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Vegas. All right.
And LA would be that place. And so would Vegas. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would.
Yeah.
We'll see. Cos, we really appreciate this, brother. Thanks so much for doing this.
All right, boys. Always a pleasure. And I'll get the sign ready, Clarkie.
Thank you.
Get the sign ready for this guy. He'll love it. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, more to talk about from that Cup final. And Clarkie, those Jays are still really good, brother. We might be going to a game. The Jays are still good. We'll talk about that next here on Instigating. Back here on Instigating with Clarky and Drury. Thanks to our buddy Sam Cosentino. Cos is the best. And again, follow him on social media. I mean, he is one of the prospect gurus. Great analyst. He'll be on there doing all the free agency stuff, draft. He's going to be super, super busy.
Sam and I
over the
go
next
back
week and a bit. Yeah, man. You
a
have
long
a long
way.
history.
A long way. I knew Sammy when he was the assistant equipment manager for the Blue Jays back in 1988. I probably met Sam in 88.
Yeah.
And then Sam was when I worked for Leafs TV, we did a show, as you know, called Saturday's Heroes, which was we brought kids teams down to the Air Canada Centre at the time, and we broadcast the games live on Leafs TV. We treated it just like a big league game. National anthem, referees, announcing of the goals, all that. You know who our PA announcer was? Josh Rimmer. Friend of the show. Jeff Rimmer, the voice of the Florida Panthers for years. Jeff's kid, Josh. But Sam was my color commentator for a few years, or a couple years on Saturday's Heroes. Yeah.
How about that?
One of us has made it big. And one day,
in the day when
Sam will too.
Yeah, one day Sam will make it really big. Yeah, he's
exactly.
He's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So really, really cool stuff and a long history. And I mean, he's just a great dude too.
He is a good dude.
You find me a person who has a bad thing to say about Cause, you can't do it.
Good dude. That's how you stay in the business as long as Sam.
That is how you stay in the business. You just got to be good to people.
Yeah,
just be nice.
And that's not why I left. I left on my own accord. So
no, nobody's insinuating.
I thought maybe
you're not. You're in the business. You're on this show.
I am. You're right.
And you are a nice guy.
My name is first.
Your name's first on the show. That's a seniority thing.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
And then but I will say,
senior.
You're a nice guy. You invited me over for a swim the other night there. That was great.
Cooked you dinner. We ate dinner in the pool.
Get a load of this, producer Adam. Clarky invites me over. I'm like, oh, yeah, we'll have a little swim. The game will be on. Have a couple non-alcoholic beverages, which I did. Don't drink and drive, kids. Come on. And we're in the pool having a great time. And then Clarky disappears, comes down with plates full of shepherd's pie and serves it to me poolside. I felt like I was in the Bahamas.
Like
Clarky
getting out
looks
of the pool.
like he's in the Bahamas. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm eating in the pool, man. I don't know about you. And he's like, oh, okay. So we just sat at the edge of the pool. And the pool was a little warm. It was nice.
The pool was warm, and it was very nice. But look, I'm at another man's house. I'm not going to just assume, hey, I'm eating in the pool. And Clarky's climbing in with his fork, and he's like, where are you going? I was like, well, all right, I guess we're eating in the pool. It was very luxurious. And I really appreciate it. Good guy Clarky, still in the media business, despite mainly selling cars now. Here on Motor Products, check him out.
That's right.
Listen,
in
Exeter, yes, beautiful Exeter, not very far away from Grand Bend, where Clarky's situated. He's not actually in the Bahamas. It's a good time over there. All right. Listen, speaking of good times, how about those Panthers, man? They didn't leave the elbow room. Some of them until 10 a.m. after winning the cup on Wednesday. Did you see Alexander Barkov ring his neighbor's doorbell at 5 a.m.?
I did.
To show them the Stanley Cup. Missed ring. Pretty funny. And Brad Marchand just with the Rats and this team, you know what Florida definitely is? There's a lot of talk about, are they the best salary cap era team? You know, like very, very fair discussion. I think they are the most like dirtbaggy team. And I mean that with utmost respect.
No doubt.
The way they play, the trash talking, all of it. But then just the little barbs at it even carried over into the celebrations in the dressing room where they were blaring Edmonton's win anthem in the playoffs. They had the Pink Pony Club going. Shout out Chapel Roan. Does Chapel
I didn't know that.
Endorse us? I don't know. Chapel, you know what? If Chapel, they did. Yes, they were blaring Pink Pony Club. Wow. Kachuk had the cup with the big cigar.
Wow.
That torn abductor muscle.
The cup got dropped or something. There's a cut in the top and a dent in the bottom. I don't like to see that. They got to respect that cup a little bit more.
Did they not fix the dent from the Avalanche winning a few years back?
Well,
They disrespected it too.
hold
we
on
tripped
just
on the
one
way to the
sec.
celebration.
Nobody partied harder with that thing than the guys with the logo behind me. There were rules put in place after the Capitals had it. I'm just saying. Remember the Caps were doing keg stands on it? That's not allowed anymore. You're not allowed to do that. The cup got very bent. But yeah, somebody broke it, and they're going to have to repair it again. So there you go.
Bill Pritchard should have like a sewing kit to be able to fix it.
A sewing
Right
kit
there.
for metal. Yeah.
Right there
a
with his white gloves
a blowtorch.
With his white
Just a little-
gloves.
A little blowtorch with the
Exactly.
gloves.
Exactly.
Phil's a beauty too.
Yeah,
I
no doubt.
had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times. Really good guy. Yeah, those Panthers, man, nasty stuff. Ripping it up at the elbow room. Did you see too? People were bagging on the TV ratings. They got like a 3.2 down there. That means 97% of the greater Miami-Dade area didn't even watch the game.
Crazy.
So people are bagging on that, and they didn't even boo Gary. They did not boo Gary.
Why would they? Gary once again made sure the Canadian team wouldn't win. So what do you
I'm
want?
not doing this with you, bud.
Did you
I'm
see
not
the
doing this with
officiating?
you.
I don't know.
Well, all right. I'm not. See, you're trying to take some. You can't have it both ways, Clark. You can't go, oh, my team took
I'm not
these guys
talking
to
about the
Game
Maple
7,
Leafs.
and then discredit their achievement by saying that the only reason they won is the refs and Jerry. Come on. That's not.
Well, if the refs were on the ball, Bennett would have got a elbowing penalty on Stolars, and
There was a bunch of other stuff that Edmonton got away with too. Darnell Nurse elbowed a guy. Come on here. Let's have it both ways.
and Evander Kane should be suspended for his slashes.
That was he.
Like you can't go after a guy with 10 seconds, or however long there was left in the game, and just whack him. Suspend him 5 games beginning of next season. Done.
Yeah,
Done.
Yeah, it was
You gotta
goofy stuff.
Anyway, you were with me. We were watching the TNT broadcast, and they're like, "Oh, that's a fine." I'm like, "He doesn't care if it's a fine. He doesn't care whatsoever."
Well, none of them care that it's a fine, but so many of them get them.
It's like me giving you a quarter. Like they don't care.
Yeah, I
It
know.
is.
But hey, I'll say this again: when it comes to that stuff, the players are responsible for that just as much as the league, because the players' union
No doubt.
votes
No
on
doubt.
that stuff.
I know.
They vote on that stuff. They love it. They love only getting a little $5,000 fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so
yeah, for sure they do.
just know that the players are very much have a heavy hand in that. I
I
wanna
like
talk a
Sam's
little bit-
take about Matthews and all that.
Yeah.
I just don't see that
That's something.
happening.
I don't.
I'm glad he
either.
had a different take. It's something we could think about. But there's, like I said to you the other night, Mitch Marner's gone. There's no doubt. And I wish, I talked to you about
At
agents
this
and their
point, I'd be-
roles. And
Yeah.
the agent's role
Darren
nowadays
Ferris,
is
yeah.
pretty much get the most money from my client. I don't care if my client gets booed and he's vilified in the town that he basically grew up in the rest of his life. I don't care. I just want him to get the most amount of money, because you can't live on $9 million a year. You need 13 or 14. You can't do it, man. You got to get the most money. And that's what's ruined the game in a little way for me. I still love watching it, but that part of it ruins it.
Well, sport in general.
No, but it's
there's an argument to be
agents.
had there.
It's
agents
that has
have
done this.
Agents have
No
muddied
doubt.
the water across
No doubt.
professional sports. You want to know where it's real bad? Professional soccer, your favorite sport, buddy. You think agents are meddling in hockey?
Well, I don't-
Holy
yeah.
dude.
Yeah, no, I get it.
there's-
So I'm just
But I agree with you. Agents are, I think, in the grand scheme of certainly from a fan's perspective,
yeah.
a bigger problem than they are.
And I wanted to bring
know.
up too, like Bill Zito said on the broadcast after the game, that he thinks he can bring all 3 guys back: Ekblad, Bennett, and Marchand. And then,
Of course, he thinks that.
and then Matthew Tkachuk's on, and Matt says, "Yeah, I don't know." He goes, "I'm all about just backing up the Brinks truck and giving me the most money. These guys, I tell them all the time, you got to go where the most money is." And I'm looking and I'm like, that's the problem.
No,
That's the problem.
But I think that you're taking what Matthew Tkachuk said a little too personally. Like he's trying to big up his brothers that he just won back-to-back cups with. Marchand aside, he's just being a supportive friend. I don't think that he's actually sitting there.
Like, I don't know.
I don't think that he literally means like, hey, everybody just right. I think he was just being a supportive teammate there.
I don't know.
Matthew Tkachuk, trust me, Matthew Tkachuk would love if Bennett, Ekblad, and Marchand all came back on $4 million a year. He would love that. But I think he was just being a supportive guy.
Maybe.
He's just being a guy.
Maybe.
That's what I think. Because
all
Matthew
right, I'll
Tkachuk,
give it to
he could have got a lot more than what he ended up getting. I mean, look at that deal now. Good grief. Anyway, Florida Panthers, how about that? Those Blue Jays, Sam Cosentino's old stomping ground.
The Jays lost a couple games this week. Like
they got swept by Philly.
Yeah.
Who the Phillies have really been struggling, but one of the best teams on paper in the major leagues, Philly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but they got swept in Philly. Let me give you that. Let me give you that one.
Okay.
Outside of when we're recording this on the 19th, they were, doing a really good job against the Diamondbacks. Mm-hmm. Walk-off win. Bichette having big hits.
Dingers to win.
Barger. Listen.
This guy reminds me of Chris Colabello.
I know. He reminds me of somebody better than that. I know that we don't like the internal improvement thing. I know it's a joke. The internal improvement is actually there in the form of Ernie Clement and Clase when he gets in there, makes an impact.
Love the name, Clase.
And
he's
Barger.
very Clase.
He is Clase. The work he does out he's got some work to do hitting wise, but defensively, like when he goes out there, doesn't miss a beat, especially with Varsho out. And on that note, actually, like Varsho and Santander, like where the hell are they going to be in this batting order when they come back? Not 1, 2, 3.
10th and 11th.
They might be.
Well,
they might be. Alejandro Kirk, you're not moving him.
Yeah, that one's still.
Like, I'm not kidding. Like, Varsho and Santander might be in like the 6, 7, maybe even 8 holes. Like, I mean, especially the way Anthony Santander is, well, I was going to say not hitting this year, still sub 200 average. And Varsho, the injury problems, you love what he does as a defender. But man, oh man, those Jays, like, we might have to creep down there, Clarky. I'll even drive us. Like, we might have to creep down there and check out what Addison Barger.
You drive, I'll go.
Okay, that's what
I'll even meet you in Listle.
Wow. Okay,
and you go from there.
I think it's something that we might have to consider.
Let's just look it up.
This is coming from a guy that doesn't.
I'm in.
I didn't want to support this. But you have to give them their flowers. We love coming on here and crapping on these guys. And I will say this too, like Vladdy is still very disappointing. He's got to pick it up. He's hitting the ball a lot better. He had a 5 RBI game the other day.
Yeah.
I need more. I need more power for 500 mil. I need a little more. That all said though, we can't be respectable guys and come on here and crap on them when we love to do that. When they're playing really well, which they are, they've won 12 of 14 as we record this at Rogers Center. They're hot at home, which is very fun. You love to see them win at home a lot. And they're just crushing baseballs right now. And you know what? They're winning in different ways, too. They're getting pitcher wins. They're playing good small ball. Defensively, they're really good.
I got the day.
In scoring position, they're crushing it. It's amazing. You got the day? Mark us down. What are we talking about here?
We are going to go on August the 12th. It's a Tuesday. Can you go on a Tuesday?
I can probably do that, yeah.
Okay. Mark it down. August 12th against the
Chicago Cubs, which the Jays will not win that game or that series. Have you seen what
Cubs?
Have you seen what the Cubbies have the best outfield hitting and D-wise in the major leagues? Pete Crow Armstrong, Seiya Suzuki, Kyle, King of the Tuck Sound Tucker. Have you seen what Pete Crow Armstrong is doing to baseballs on both sides of the ball? Unbelievable defense. This guy legitimately has a chance to be an MVP.
There you go.
Youngest guy, and I think he's the fastest player ever, I just saw, to get to 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases. This kid is a freak, man. If you're not familiar with what my guy Blue Hair PCA is doing, Pete Crow Armstrong, turn on a Cubs game and check out number 4.
I have a new favorite player in the majors, too.
You have a new favorite player?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it Pete Crow Armstrong?
I think he plays for the Athletics.
Denzel Clark.
Because Clark with an E, and he's from Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. And he has been unbelievable in the outfield. Man. Stealing home runs. He's fun to watch.
He's hitting well, too.
Well, he didn't at start. He started the major league career like 1 for 20. But yeah, he's hitting better. And he hit a home run in Toronto's first home run. So he's my new favorite non-Blue Jay.
The catches he's making,
they're unbelievable,
are absolutely sublime. And God, you're gonna do it to me again. You're making me take a turn signal down the left road here, and I'll do it. You're doing it to me again. It once again engenders extreme rage throughout my body because the Athletics do this all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
The Athletics, the Pirates, baseball makes me puke the way that they have these ownership groups, man. The Pirates right now are quote unquote open for business, but not Paul Skeens. Not yet. In 2-3 years, he'll be a Yankee. I can't believe that teams can get this young talent in and then not build around them and spend any money. It's absolutely psychotic. And the Athletics are the guiltiest of this because Billy Beane and his staff are unbelievable at scouting players. And they assemble all these young talents. Look at the guys they have on this team right now. They're actually an exciting young roster. Soderstrom's destroying baseballs 445 feet. Jacob Wilson's getting big timely hits. Denzel Clark is making psychotic catches in the outfield, robbing home runs that are already 1.5 feet over the fence, and he's pulling them back like Spider-Man. I don't know which one. I was a big Tobey Maguire Spider-Man guy. One of them. They'll all be gone within 5-6 years when their initial service time is done and they can sign as unrestricted free agents because they won't spend to keep any of these guys together. So it's sad. Maybe he ends up a Blue Jay. How cool would that be? That would be very, very cool.
That's not a Blue Jay thing to do right now. They don't like the Canadians. No, they don't. They get rid of the Canadians.
No, but listen though. It is a very Blue Jays thing to do over their history to trade for Oakland Athletics star players. And it usually works out pretty damn well. I'm not saying this kid's going to turn into the second coming of Josh Donaldson or anything like that. Or Matt Chapman or whatever, but they do love going down and calling up Billy Beane and his people. I know Billy's not the GM anymore, folks. But they love calling up down there and going, hey, Bill, do you have any like really good young players that you give us for like our 5th best prospect and a couple kids no one's heard of? And maybe we'll kick in $200,000 cash to get you a new soda machine? And Bill always goes, yeah, take Matt Chapman, take Josh Donaldson and win an MVP. Have fun. Makes me sick. But yeah, that Denzel Clark kid, not a bad guy to have as your new favorite player, Clarky. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
Get him on the show. We should get him on the show.
I'm sure that would happen.
It should be easy to navigate. Players. It should be easy to navigate their media department. It's probably one guy not even being paid.
Just have to get the phone number to the shed.
We got to get the phone number to the shed.
Just call the shed. The shed.
We're getting... you're leading me down a dark path here, brother. The shed.
Let's move on.
I can't do this.
Let's move on and talk about the U.S. Open.
Yeah, the U.S. Open picks are in, and I was feeling really good heading into the final day.
So was I. Well, not the final day. I was happy going into the tournament, but...
Well, you missed the cut. So
I did. I had 2 guys miss the cut, yeah.
You couldn't go back-to-back. However, big win for you at the Canadian Open. Team back bacon. That was a fun week for you.
It was.
But the crown has gone back to Mr. Ian Doig. Yeah. Adam's got the...
You're struggling.
Yeah, I've hit a cold streak here. Doigi beat me by 2 strokes, and that's even more crushing because I just needed a little more out of my friend Yellow Shirt Hideki, and he couldn't do it for me. Morikawa started off really well. He faded. That's what Colin Morikawa does. Again, I don't want to be this guy. I'm just saying what the stats show us, and Morikawa, he's starting to hurt my feelings a little bit here. I pick him a lot. Love Morikawa. Couldn't do it at Oakmont. And so Doigi wins. He had a very, very good tournament with his team. And speaking of very, very good tournaments, how about that story and JJ Spawn needing a 2-putt to secure it? And he just lined up a 64-footer and said, no, you know what? I'll just take it right now.
Yeah.
That was one of the most cool moments. And his 2 kids there and his wife, like winning it on Father's Day. What a really cool moment for a very likable dude who's been through a lot of ups and downs in his golf career. Very, very sick to see JJ Spawn win. Even Temper Tantrum Tyrrell Hatton was happy for him in his press conference when
I
he saw
told you. Didn't I tell you? That guy is like unbelievably angry all the time.
He is. Well, he had a chance to win the tournament for a little while there.
And then he got a
was
bad
in the
break.
mix.
Did you see the press conference? He goes, I got a bad break. And they go, what do you mean you got a bad break? He goes, oh, I hit the ball just off the line a little bit and I had a downhill. Well, you missed the fairway. After that, man, it's not bad luck. That's just the way where you put the ball. Like, sorry.
And that was the story for a lot of people, including Rory. And Doigi won despite Rory not having a very good first 2.5 days.
Yeah, he made
had a decent end to his day on Saturday. Yeah, he made the cut. Had a decent day on Saturday. Played real well on Sunday. If he had played the way he did on Sunday through the majority of the tournament, he might have been, okay. But Rory sounds excited now. He's excited to go to the Travelers, which is this week. He's excited to be down there. He sounds like he's, I don't know, maybe he's finally figured that drive.
Rory's a little bitter lately, too. Rory's a little bitter lately. I don't know what's going on.
I hate to say this. I don't like to be this guy. He just seems like he's got something else going on right now. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to speculate. He seems like a distracted athlete right now, which, look, guys, we like to get fired up about sports. We want our favorite players, our teams to do well. They are human beings.
100%.
They got stressed just like you and me. Yeah, they're making millions of dollars. They got lives too. And Rory looks like he's going through some real life stuff right now. I don't know what. Maybe I'm way off base. Maybe his game is just off and it's that simple.
Yeah, maybe.
He just doesn't look like he did earlier this year at the Players and at Pebble, the Masters. Just looks like he's working through some stuff right now. And we love Rory. We want to see more. All right? We're selfish here. We love to see Rory. And we'll get some more pretty soon. Like, I think it's what are we, 3 or 4 weeks away from Royal Portrush for the Open? Doigi will have first pick. I guarantee he's taking Rory. We might as well just start the picks right now. Yeah. We could call up Doigi really quick. Look, producer Adam, write it down. Doigi's taking Rory at Portrush. We know it. Of course he is.
Yeah.
For sure. I know who I'll be taking. Well, we have to reveal that later when the time is right. Okay. Really appreciate our friend Sam Cosentino for coming on here. Remember to follow on social media. Yeah, dude.
Holy smokes.
We're done. It exploded by. Go enjoy that. You look like you're sitting in Jurassic Park, brother. Go enjoy that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's cool.
And
it needs to warm up. And it's supposed to warm up.
Just get in the pool.
It's supposed
Your pool's plenty warm, bro. It's probably warmer than the air.
It is for sure tonight. Yes.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to Sam Cosentino for jumping on here. Remember, you can watch this show Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9 of the Friends on Whiteman. That's channel 6 for Whiteman subscribers, debuting on our YouTube channel Friday nights at 9. Follow us on social media, which includes Clarky.
Instagram.
That's right. And follow the podcast version. You want to listen in your car? You want to do this and that? Run around the house? Hey, you can still listen to us two hooligans. And you can do that on all your favorite podcast apps, including Apple Podcast and, of course, Spotify. We will be back next week with more instigating
with Clarky and Drury.